Now that we've created the corridor and we've added some template drops, let's review the roadway layout in the corridor. You're going to notice there's some intersection areas that need to be addressed. We typically don't want our grading to be going through intersections, and right now, if we look at the corridor in 3D, you can see the corridor is just going through all the intersections. We have shoulder and grading going through all the intersections. We don't really want that to happen in this case. So we're going to take a look at now is I'm going to show you how we can remove those components or those 3D elements from the model or from the corridor. And we're going to do that by using corridor references along with some special tricks that we have set up in our template that we're using here. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some corridor reference elements to the corridor, and that's going to trigger some display rules that we have set up in the template to automatically turn off the components through the intersection areas. So when you add a corridor reference, that provides us the ability to add graphical elements to the corridor for processing. And by adding these graphical elements as corridor references, we can target those elements using other corridor modeling tools. So if you notice in this intersection here, I have this white dashed line drawn in my geometry file. This is a civil geometry, and this has a feature definition called match line, and I named it church match line. Some people call these seam lines or join lines. You can call them whatever you want. But the key here is that we're going to assign this to the corridor so that the corridor can use it and target it. And by doing so, our template's going to go and seek that particular feature definition. And because of some display rules we have set up in the template, it's going to turn off our shoulder and our grading through these intersection areas. So let's go ahead and do that so I can illustrate how this works. So let's go up to corridors. We'll go to corridor references and we'll add corridor reference so we can add this element to our corridor for processing. And we'll go over here and we'll select our corridor. We'll locate our first reference element. So this is our church road match line element. So we're going to come over here and select that. Reset, right click or reset to complete. And you'll notice in the 3D model now, the shoulder and the grading all disappears. Now, why does that happen? It's because a few things are going on here. Most of it is because of the way we have the template designed to work. So if we go and take a look at the template, we'll go up to corridors, create template tool. And if we take a look at the 2 lanes rural template, you'll notice we have some null points above the top of the template here. And those are set up to seek that particular match line element that we added as a corridor reference. So if we look at the point properties on this right point, for example, you can see we have a horizontal feature constraint here, and that's searching for that match line feature definition. So since we added that particular element to the corridor, it's going to move this point to that location horizontally, and then when it moves that point, it's going to trigger a display rule, which displays or undisplays the shoulder and our grading. Okay, if we take a look at the shoulder component here, you can see there's a display rule that's attached to it. Okay, that's associated to this point. So if we go and test this point, I click on that and say test point controls, and we do a horizontal point control test. If we move this to the right, you'll notice that when it moves to the right, it means it's looking for this. If it finds that feature definition match line that we assigned to the corridor, then it's automatically going to move to that location and turn off our shoulder and our grading. Same thing applies to the point on the left. If this point can find that match line feature definition from the element that we added to the corridor as a corridor reference, when we test that, it'll move to that location and then it'll automatically turn off the shoulder and the grading. So this is just one way that you can handle those intersection areas if you need to do this kind of thing. So let's close the dialog here. And let's continue addressing the rest of the intersections. We're not going to do anything with the driveways right now. I'm going to show you some different techniques to use on the driveways. We have this intersection here where the ramps come in. We got another intersection over here where these other ramps are, and then we have this intersection here where forest court is. So again, we'll add all those as corridor references, and then the template will go out and find those points and then turn off the components as needed. So let's go over here to corridor references once again, and we'll say add corridor reference. Let's go to locate our corridor, and let's go find our reference elements. We can do these one at a time, or we can just do them all at the same time. So let's just grab them all at the same time. We'll just do one, left and right, and we'll go up to the other intersection and do left and right. We'll do this one and this one. And recall all those elements, those are drawn in my geometry control file. Those were drawn just using civil geometry tools. Come over here to forest court and grab that element. Okay, now we have all our elements selected. We'll right click to complete. And then we'll go take a quick look at the 3D model, and you'll see that we have our components have disappeared or undisplayed as we'd like. So that's what it looks like now when we add those corridor references. So that's what we want. Now after we've added the corridor references, you may want to take a quick review using the corridor objects tool just to see that they got added to the corridor properly. Obviously, pieces of our corridor have disappeared, so it looks like it's working correctly. But if we need to review the corridor or make additional edits to the corridor, we can use the corridor objects tool to do that. So go up here to corridor objects and select the little bucket, and we'll come over here and select our corridor. And again, the corridor objects tool allows you to make edits and changes to the corridor. So you can see our template drops here. And also when you select a category from the left here, and like this one's template drop, for example, when you select that template drop, it'll highlight in the 2D view. So you can see where your two template drops are very easily. If we go down to our external references, which was our corridor references that we've added, you'll see there's the corridor reference elements. And when you highlight on each one of those will also highlight in the 2D view, indicating the location of the corridor reference. Now, at this point, if you needed to modify the corridor, get rid of these references, you can do that here. Just go to the delete button. You can delete those if you need to. So you can see there's our corridor references were indeed added to the corridor, so it looks like we're pretty good. So I'm going to close this, and then we will continue on.